Same rounds. Same throws. They almost threw identical punches. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it was just more of the same.
I'm going to start with the first fight. First fight's Charlo Trout. I fell asleep in round 3, people. I'm sorry. Trout's not winning this fight. Trout's already knocked down. He's playing defense. Charlo's just pressing, not really giving any respect. I'm asleep, Lee. I knew the outcome, right? I didn't have the fast forward. I didn't fast forward it because I fell asleep before I could hit fast forward. Not impressed at all. This is what happens, Lee, when you put opponents in with up-and-comers numerous times over and over. Guess what? People already know what Charlo is. I don't want to see him either pick and unify this guy already, or I'm over it because I fell asleep. There was no interest last night in watching him walk down an old Austin Trout. You know when he got dropped? They said, oh, this is the 5th time he's been dropped in his career. Sorry, Charlo, it's not special. There's nothing special about it anymore. I moved on. I fell asleep. I woke up. He's still the champ. It went decision. Ha! I started laughing. Glad I didn't watch that bullshit. You go 12 rounds with Austin Trout? I'm just, these Charlo brothers, I swear, or Jamal, whatever, they need to ask their promoter to pick up their opposition or these guys are going to get stuck fighting B fighters. And when they finally do get that A side, they're going to get wiped out because they ain't used to fighting anybody that can actually give a threat back. Lee, did not watch the first fight. Let's move on to the second one.
All right.
Second fight, it's exciting, right? The fans.
Now, you watched these fights this morning, right?
Yes, sir.
What did you have food with it?
No.
Food.
No, I'm actually starving right now. No, I didn't.
You know how I feel about watching a fight? Like, I feel it needs a mood. Like, you need hot dogs or peanuts.
Bro, I just woke up.
I had a super dog and I had peanuts.
I hadn't been on social media in 24 hours. I did not know the outcome of Crawford Horn. I did not know the outcome of the Showtime fights.
Crawford Horn is and I'll say this. So far, you're not selling me on this god-awful
fight was
yet.
Weak. I fell asleep.
Like, my fight card was generally entertaining. Look, for the 50, I spent money, right? I spent money to a fight that I knew I could get credentials for. So, for me to sit there and go, I got my money's worth. Like, I felt very satisfied about, if I had gone to L.A., because that was an option on the table, going to Santa Cruz Maris, I'd have been pissed long before I got to the main event.
Of course.
You're just not selling it. You're not selling the fight card at all.
I'm not trying to sell it. The fight's over. They got their views.
Andrew, you're supposed to push up.
The fight's over. They got their views. No, I want these Charlo guys to step it up already. That's what all of us as a boxing community, it's time to stop with these BS fights. But anyways, let's move on to the main event. I'm tired of talking about them too. The main event's a good fight. The main event, you know what? LA showed up.
It's not a good fight because it's the same result.
Dude, they showed up. They were cheering. Mata's had a hell of a fight crowd in that place. Both guys had their fans, their family. The place is packed. The fight is good. First 3 rounds, Lee. These two are throwing down. There is no warm-up. They come out throwing round 1. But you want to know what happens round 4? It starts becoming the same fight. Listen, Mares doesn't have any power to stop Leo Santa Cruz. So, Lee, you're watching the guy throw and throw and throw, and he's trying, and he's missing a lot more than he's landing, but they're still mixing it up. From far away, oh, it looks exciting as hell. The fans are standing up. They're cheering. These two guys are just throwing. But when you're close, when you're watching the fight through the camera on TV, you can clearly see that one is shooting a 22 and the other one's a 38. The 22 has nothing. Abner Mares has nothing to keep Leo off. Leo's showing them no respect, just walking right through all his shots, delivering the harder punches, breaking them down. It starts getting, I'm not going to say sad, but you start feeling for Mares. Lee, he's like freaking 5 inches smaller coming into the ring. The size advantage is crazy for Santa Cruz. Now the kid doesn't even have the power. It's the same fight as the first one. Yes, it's exciting because the crowd, they can't see the power behind the shots. They just see two dudes throwing. So they're cheering, they're standing up. They want a third fight. I don't want a third fight. I'm done with this fight. Abner Mares cannot stop Leo Santa Cruz So why would you give him another 12-round beating? Why would you hurt Mares' career? They're saying Mares wants to fight Gary Russell Jr. Go fight Gary Russell Jr. Get away from Leo Santa Cruz. You've done it twice. You've clearly lost.
I don't understand I didn't know what the point of the fight was in the first place.
Lee, I'm telling you what I think it is. They are exciting. Their style, if you are just an average fan turning on Showtime last night, these two Mexicans were throwing, Lee. But when you're watching the fight as a diehard, right? As someone who knows he can break down what's going on, the fight starts getting a little bit of the same, and Mares is throwing, but Lee, so many of his punches are arm shots. They have no power behind them. So yes, when you're 15 rows back or 20 feet away from the ring, dude, it looks like these guys are throwing 1,000 punches at each other. Then I'm telling you, when you really look at the film, Mares just does not have. He might be too small for the division. Who knows? We won't know that until he actually fights one of the other smaller guys in the division, not the tallest man there, which is Leo Santa Cruz. Not a good matchup. Do not want to see the fight a third time. It was an entertaining fight. I'll give them that. Like I said, Mares is in it to win it. He just doesn't have the firepower to get it done, Lee. And Santa Cruz, he's a tornado. This kid just keeps coming. Remember, I used to describe him as a very young or smaller Antonio Margarito. Very tall, comes straight forward, doesn't really use his height at all, and throws 1,000 punches. He can't keep him off of him. But overall, it was a good, solid main event. Let me tell you another thing that made me go back to the first fight, tell you how much boring that was. Lee, they were booing. I think in round 2, they were booing the Austin Trout-Charlo fight. Charlo needs to step up the competition already with Al Heyman.
Nice. Do you have any observations on the fight in general? Ring card girls. Do you have a Mauro Ranallo report?
No.
Anything?
No, he actually toned it down a little. He was being them. They were all being good. Exciting fight. The main event. I told you I fell asleep in the co-main event, so I don't know what they did through that bore fest. I just yeah. No, I did not check out the ring card girls either. Sorry, bro.
You didn't bring me a full report.
I know. I'm sorry. I was trying to.
That's the top rank. The top rank people actually trotted out for the first time. How do I say this politically correct? They brought out a model who was of color, which you and I both know because we go to top rank fights. I don't think I've ever seen a black top rank ring card girl. Have you?
Yeah. I mean.
They like Latinas. They like the white ones. No, I'm not being dicky about this. I mean, I'm being legit. Like, they hire usually Mexican and white female models for top-ranked girls. Predominantly.
Right.
This was
I hear you. I think they go with what the fight is, right?
We've been to black top-ranked fights. I mean, surely they were catering when they knew Bozeman was coming.
Hey, Lee.
But,
I'm getting so fucking tired of BoxRec pop-ups. What's up with this website, man?
Not only the BoxRec pops up, they want you to log in and be a member. Like, the whole thing. Yeah, it's pretty old.
Jeez almighty. I'm trying to get Austin Trout's record from when he defeated Miguel Cotto to what he is today and show everyone that this guy has been losing for years now. BoxRec is just not working with me right now. It's pissing me off.
Yeah, it's pissing me off, too. I kind of gave up, and I was going to use it earlier as well. Never got to it. Thinking about a buffet later.
Nice,
Andrew,
yeah.
Before I leave.
Starving.
I'm not in a hurry to leave.
I'm
just not.
Hey, I gave it what it was.
I get that.
You know what I mean? I wasn't really impressed with the Austin Trout fight in the very beginning. And then, like I said, round 2, they're booing. Austin Trout looks like he's on. Dude, this guy's been cashing checks, man. Hasn't he?
As he should. Wait, by the way, as he should. Like, I don't begrudge anybody for grabbing the money. What I have a problem with is when that fighter then goes on some kind of fucking wackadoodle tear like Adrian Broner and say, I'm the best. I'm going to be the best. I'm going to be better than Floyd. I'm going to be cashing checks and all about the billions. All right, cool, dude. Shut the fuck up and fight somebody who's in the top 10. That's all I'm saying. Deontay Wilder is the poster boy for shut your fucking pie hole and fight somebody in the top 10. And then he fights somebody one time in the top 10. Deontay Wilder, perfect example. Finally fought somebody in the top 10 that you barely got by. And I'm going to say it. I don't care what anybody says. Deontay Wilder barely got by. Okay?
He has.
Deontay Wilder.
I hear you, Lee. Let me sum this up, too. Miguel Cotto, 2012. Austin Trout is undefeated at 25-0. Since then, he lost to Saul Alvarez, Ezrealandi Lara, Jermall Charlo, Jarrett Hurd, and Jermell Charlo. He's never won a title since the Miguel Cotto fight. He's never beaten a top 5 opponent since the Miguel Cotto fight.
Yeah, but Austin Trout has turned into a weird name to take a name beating.
It's like, dude, how many checks has this man cashed in the last 6 years off of one fucking win? I'm so over Austin Trout.
Oh, I didn't tell you the biggest person who was at the fight, which was really strange. Lady Gaga was at the fight.
Damn, man. Terrence Crawford bringing him out.
It was a real Vegas fight. I mean, they had the upper deck closed off. But as I told Will, I'm like, for $50, dude, for $50, you're in the lower bowl for a championship fight. I wish they'd do every fight like that. I would take more people to fights at $50. I really would. If I could buy a semi-decent seat for $50 to $100, I'd take people. I would. I mean, I have to explain a lot more because the first thing everybody notices, you know this, Andrew, first thing people who don't go to fights notice, it's really quiet. Yeah, that's because you don't have Jim Lampley giving you play-by-play. Yeah. And so you automatically become the play-by-play and start answering questions. Which I liked. He was asking good. He actually, kudos to Kevin. He had a good trip. He asked really. You know this, Andrew. You can take someone to a fight or watch a fight with somebody where you're like, shut the fuck up. Right. They were all very logical, intelligent. He was involved questions, and I was really impressed with where his head was during the fight. It wasn't. He's a high level. Pole vaulting athlete. Like, he's an athlete to begin with. He just started taking jiu-jitsu as well, but he's like a really well-conditioned athlete. So he doesn't ask stupid stuff at all. I was really impressed. There is a long list of people where I'm like,
Floyd Mayweather, Lee. Floyd Mayweather, one paycheck last year, becomes the highest paid athlete in the whole world.
I saw that.
Conor McGregor comes in number 4. Good job, you guys.
Number 4 with only 99 million.
Good job, though.
Right.
One fight. One fight. Don't tell me boxing's dead, people. One fight. Richest athlete in the world. Stop it.
Let me take this time out for a public service announcement, Andrew. I'm going to just insert this right here. Let me turn on some background music. There we go. That's nice. You can't hear the music, but the music's perfect, Andrew. Can you even hear me? Oh. This is a public service announcement to all of Andrew's family members listening to this show. You were notified on Facebook recently that you need to turn back in your wedding invitations promptly, and how many people, and whether or not you need a room. Just visit Andrew Lapache's wedding page with Christine Benavides and get those invitations and everything back in. Thanks. Cool.
Thank you very much, Lee. So we had some bad news this week in the...
Wait, by the way, is it funnier now that I did the whole thing? You got to hear it with music, which is retro 50s back. By the way, my way too hot fiance's in bed next to me, and I think it's the first time that she's ever heard a show being recorded all the way through. And she heard that joke and laughed. And like as I was explaining it to her, I thought, she's going to tell me this is dumb. It was funny? Good. Yeah.
Very nice.
I think it's a scream. I think the background music makes it that much better with retro elevator music from the 70s. That's what's really going to sell that little section. So all of you on the other end of the joke, that's a long explanation about the joke. Do we have any news at all, Andrew?
Well, we had some bad news in boxing. Another Mexican fighter was shot and killed this week.
that's a common. Wait, I don't want to be a dick here, but that's the role I play on this show. But a Mexican fighter getting